I had the privilege to be present at the beatification of Pope John Paul II in very beautiful and solemn ceremonies in Rome. When I considered Blessed Pope John Paul, I was reminded of the prayer in the anaphora of the Divine Liturgy, where we remember the communion of saints. We recognize the presence of those who preceded us in death, the patriarchs, prophets, apostles, preachers, evangelists, martyrs, confessors, ascetic. We could include the Holy Father in all these categories. And there is one more, every just spirit made perfect in the faith. He was one of those as well. In the account of the resurrection, we are reminded of such just spirits. Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus go to Pontius Pilate and request the body of Jesus. They take it from the cross and entomb it. We heard how the women went to the tomb to anoint the dead body of Jesus. Joseph and Nicodemus were men with careers. At least one of the women was a mother and homemaker. They were ordinary people, very much like you and me. They were righteous people, and their actions were to contribute to the salvation of the world. They set out to do very simple service, but God had different plans for them. What do these righteous spirits from the gospel teach us? First, of course, that we must offer our life, not only our death, to God. We must give him our life so that he may resurrect it to new life. Also, we learn the need to ask some questions. Who are we? What are we to do? How will we be able to do it? Who are we? Each of us has been given talents. We have strengths and weaknesses. We have a personal vocation within the common vocation to holiness, the vocation to build up the body of Christ. We look to what God has created in us. Who am I? I am what I am in the eyes of God, that and nothing else. And everything God has created is good. What we are to add is a righteousness. And what are we to do? Joseph and Nicodemus saw that they could do a service to Jesus. They took courage and proceeded to do it, risking their reputations and perhaps their lives. But fear did not hold them back. Recall how Pope John Paul often reminded us, "Do not be afraid." Their righteous, ordinary action, made perfect by God, had extraordinary effect. The women set out to anoint a dead body, but after encountering heaven on earth and the risen Jesus himself, they boldly did what he told them and became the first carriers of the good news. And how? The women developed a plan, but they doubted it, asking, "Who will move the stone for us?" But even with this question in their minds, they continued to the tomb. We all make plans. Sometimes when we don't know all the answers, we stop. These men and women teach us to continue boldly and hopefully, trusting in God. We must realize that our plans may not be the best. What we must do is to allow God to lead and then to follow him, knowing that his plan will always be the best. May we all be bold and trusting in God, ready to follow the risen Christ, ready to proclaim to all that Christ is risen